Sri Kumaraswamy Mahavidyalaya Avsa, District Latur in Maharashtra State. It's organized an international e-conference. For today's session on the dais is Honorable Dr. Cindy Young, Madam, as a keynote speaker. So I heartily welcome to you, Madam. I welcome the Chief Organizer of the series, Honorable Dr. M.M. Betkar, sir, and also welcome to all those dear attendees. The topic for today's presentation is 3 ways to prevent knowledge hoarding cultures. Now this topic is going to present, as I have mentioned, keynote speaker Dr. Cindy Young, ma'am, who is from Virginia, United States. So with this brief introduction, now I request you, madam, please start your presentation on today's topic, 3 ways to prevent knowledge hoarding culture. But kind request, give some details from your side before to start the presentation. You are most welcome.
Thank you very much. So I want to start off with asking, do you know that out of 1,000 people surveyed, that all the employees, 1,000 professionals found that employees spent more than an average of 5 hours a week to find knowledge. The finding knowledge is a little bit difficult because they're trying to get it from their coworkers. So that brings another question. What about finding information? And so another study was found that people spent over 10 hours a week looking for information. So that's a lot of information. And over my years, working, I found that knowledge hoarding is a big thing. So I'm Dr. Cindy Young. I spent 23 years in the United States Navy, and where knowledge sharing was a big thing, knowledge hoarding was not. And since then, I've come over as a contractor, and I'm constantly finding people are knowledge hoarding. And it's not by fault. It's because it's become a way of success, a way of providing so that they don't become people that are let go. And so I want to talk to you about the knowledge hoarding, but I'm going to start off with, why do people hoard knowledge? And so it's really a big thing. So we find that people are feared of not being valued. So when they have knowledge, they hold on to it real tight. They don't want to be shared because they want to be able to still be the person that people count on. And that's not always the best case, because they get stuck in what they're thinking about and how they're looking at a problem. And they may not be as innovative as, say, their peer. Instead of looking at it as a competition, they look at it as, oh, I need to use it because I'm not feeling that people are counting on me, or I'm not feeling that people trust me as much as they should. Another reason that they don't feel that they want to share is that they don't feel trusted. When knowledge hoarding happens, people are out in their organization and they're trying to engender trust in their teams. So they may share a little bit, but then their people that are working for them feel that they aren't getting the full picture. They feel that they could do better had they known more. And so one thing that I do is I do share what I know. When I go to presentations, I share the presentation and I give them a little bit notes, a little bit insight. And that's really helped my team a lot. I'm not 100%, there all the time. So I need them to be able to have access to what they need to be able to work better and to be able to think ahead and maybe come up with some ideas that will support the company. Another thing is that we have these barriers. We have barriers that people may not realize are there. And when I talk cultural, I'm not talking about, I'm from the South or I'm from, East. I'm talking about, well, I'm maybe in my organizational part of the company. I'm in business operations, so you don't need to know this. Or I am finance? Why do you need to know how the money is spent and shares throughout the company? So that's a lot of that knowledge. Had people known it, they could probably do better, and not just as individuals, but to support the customers. So this brings up knowledge hoarding. And how do we get rid of that? How do we get rid of that culture of knowledge hoarding? Because knowledge hoarding isn't good for the company. It really restricts people. When you get people that are looking to transfer or retire, when you have knowledge hoarding that happens, if somebody who's retiring after being somewhere for 20, 30 years, then all that knowledge is gone. And the loss of the corporate knowledge is really bad for the company. They may have used strategic planning around it, or they may have had certain processes in place. And if you don't know the history why you're making those changes, you may make the mistakes that led to those changes without even realizing it. So knowledge hoarding, it can be a problem. And like I said, a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it. So I found 3 ways that really help to, push against knowledge hoarding, to really engender a world of knowledge sharing. And the first one is leading by example. When you lead by example, you're sharing how to do it, and you're showing people how to do it, how to share the knowledge, whether that's introducing them to a key person in the organization, telling them what they do, where they can best come up with the processes, or where the processes are. A lot of times people think knowledge management is same thing as information management. Well, we're going to put it on a SharePoint portal. Well, have you ever gone to a portal and not been able to access it and have to explain to somebody why you need access to it? That's not always fun. And that leads in delays of getting the information. It goes back to that 10 hours a week of trying to find the information. It's not always available. And using that knowledge, you're taking action on that information. So you really do need that. So leading by example, you're giving people access to where that information is. You're giving access to your thoughts, to maybe some tasking that you've been given, and giving your team a little bit of chance to help you out to make those work better. You want to make sure that it works so that you are not overtasking people by only giving knowledge to one person. You want to make sure that your team understands that, hey, I'm doing this. This is what I see as a positive, and I think I want you to do the same thing. So as you lead by example, you're going to lead by a positive example, because if you lead by a negative example, people are going to leave. They're going to depart. They're going to change jobs. They're going to leave your organization, and then you're going to lose your corporate knowledge whether you realize it or not. All right. Well, the second thing is you want to create knowledge champions at all levels. A lot of times we'll have knowledge managers assigned to different parts of the organization. So you'll have, one person in business operations, one person in finance, one person project management office, and you'll task them with socializing with the other knowledge managers so that you can learn what their problems are and become better problem solvers. But that's only one person. You want to get that knowledge sharing, knowledge management tasking throughout your organization. So say you're a project manager and you're working with another project manager, and that team is having a little bit difficulty. There's nothing wrong. In fact, it's encouraged to share, hey, this is what we saw and this is what we've done better. And rather than say, well, my team is the best, and we're not going to share what we do because we don't want your team to be better. No, that's not. You want to make sure that everybody has the same information, because in the end, it's your organization who's doing the job, not you, not your team. It's your organization. So in order to represent your organization, you need to ensure that you have knowledge sharing process in place. So you can do that by having a lessons learned event where it's not just upper level that you're debriefing, that you share it with everybody, or you do debrief the upper level, and then you have, you share the presentation with other people. You tell people what it is, you give them access to it. So you see what I mean? It's about getting ahead of the game by knowledge sharing. and not by knowledge hoarding. Because when you share, you're more likely to get people to share back and make a better process, in the world. Plus, the projects that you're working on, as you're working on the projects, you can team up and you can do better, and your customers are more apt to come back to you. So, that, and then you also want to have your senior leadership being knowledge managers. Rather than just have one person that's assigned as a collateral duty, you want to have that person be out there being a champion for knowledge management. Okay, so as we're going through a little quickly here, but the third part is you want to acknowledge and reward knowledge sharing. Now, how you can combat knowledge hoarding is through this. When you acknowledge knowledge sharing, you are going to acknowledge them in public. You can reward them by, a day off, time off, lunch. You may reward a team by having an activity, or you may just put their name up on a board somewhere. One way which I like, but I don't like, is that when you kind of negatively reward them, you put it on their performance review. You may say that I'm not, this person is not a team player. They don't share what they know. They don't help other people become better. Because that's really the essence of it, is that if you don't share knowledge, then knowledge hoarding becomes the thing that comes out of it. So, again, lead by example. You want to create knowledge sharing champions at all levels, and then you want to acknowledge and reward knowledge sharing. Now, when I first got in the position I'm in now, I took over for somebody who'd been in the job for close to 15 years. So it was a challenge. And one of the things I saw was that I had a couple people on my team that were hoarding what they knew. And it wasn't just bad for the other person that they worked with, because they were working in teams of two, but it was bad for our part of the organization, our certification training area, because when it came to questions that my superiors would ask me, it was hard because I would always have to go back to the person. And in the end, he ended up leaving because I kept insisting that he provide the knowledge so that if anything happened to him. One thing that I always encourage people to do is to look at, if they want to take a vacation, or if they want to take some extended time off. If you're ever in a position where you want to take a vacation, but then you still get phone calls, then your knowledge sharing is not enough. The knowledge sharing has to happen where you're available, but you're also leaving other people empowered to be able to support the stuff that you're leaving behind. So it's not always easy. It's not always fun. However, when you do change your culture from knowledge hoarding to knowledge sharing, it really brings about a lot of positive aspects of it, where your team is feeling confident. Your boss is feeling confident about how your team's working. Other teams want to work with you. So, the knowledge hoarding is, again, you want to lead by example every day. So, another way you can do this is by incorporating it into your weekly reports. I have a weekly report I have to do for my customer through my boss. And one thing I do is when I go out there and ask my team, hey, I need you to provide this. This is a weekly thing, provide this. And by the way, this is what's happening. So if they haven't been around, if they've been, in training, or if they've been at another command working with them, I provide to them all the things that are happening so that they are full of grounds, basically. They understand what's going on. And with this, they're able to solve problems without having to come back to me and ask me, hey, what's going on with this? How am I doing this? I give them some guidance and some knowledge about what processes are in place, and they can work. When I get new people on board, I do knowledge mapping, where I have them talk to other people and get to know everybody. Their sponsor walks them around, and they get to know who all's there. But you got to fight the knowledge hoarding. It becomes it becomes a bad sign when you come to an organization and you'll have one person you can reach out to. It's okay to have one person be the expert, but when you only have one person that can answer a question, you're in trouble. So to combat this, definitely lead by example, have knowledge management people across the lines that are not just one person, that you have a champion there, but also that you acknowledge and reward knowledge sharing. And so when it comes to knowledge management, those are really my top 3 reasons or ways to combat knowledge hoarding. Okay, sir. I apologize for going so quickly, but I really do love this topic. So if anybody has any questions, I'm here to answer those.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful
You're welcome. Thank you.
presentation. Now I request all the participants, if you have any query, please discuss with keynote speaker, Honorable Dr. Cindy ma'am. Dear participants.
Feel free to ask anything you want. I love knowledge management.
I think there is no questions. You have explained and covered all those details. So thank you, ma'am. Now I request the chief organizer of the e-conference, Honorable Dr. M. Ambedkar, sir, to conclude the session. Please, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sri Kumaraswamy Mahavidyalaya Hausa, District Latur in Maharashtra State. As we know, all their participants were organizing an international conference as well as national and also World Recall Series 2. Every day we are meeting with new session with new topic. And for today's session on the dais was Honorable Dr. Cindy Young ma'am, who talked upon the topic 3 ways to prevent knowledge hoarding cultures, where madam have explained what do you mean the knowledge hoarding, what is the knowledge sharing cultures, and why do some people hoard some informations, and different ways to prevent knowledge hoarding cultures. Now all the concept you have clear, madam, within a short time, but you explain more and more things in front of us. So I'm very, very thankful to you on behalf of the organizing committee members. You paid your valuable time and delivered wonderful lectures. Thank you once again. I thanks the chief organizer, the ideal principal of Sri Kumar Swami Mahavidyalaya Ausa, Honorable Dr. M. Betkar sir, and I should not forget to thank all those dear participants who joins the series regularly. Now kindly request everyone, you have to fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. So with the kind permission of chief organizer, I declare today's session is over. Thank you so much. Bye bye everyone. Thank you, Cindy ma'am.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Okay.